Welcome to Dirty Story Night. This week we begin our August 2016 Dirty Stories. The theme that month was anime, and we'll start with Yohe Huffs Hamtaro. So if you know who Hamtaro is, please enjoy. Not everything is super anime over the next 6 weeks, but there's at least some anime theme to all the stories. So if you're not an anime fan like me, I still recommend checking him out. Dirty Story Night is part of the It's All Been Done Presents network. To check out all of our programming, please go to iabdpresents.com. I'd like to recommend The Good, The Bad, and The Geeky, a long-running podcast by Nick Argenbright that is kind of a talk show about geek and pop culture stuff, and sometimes they review things, sometimes there's some little games done in front of an audience, lots of interesting things, so check it out, iabdpresents.com. Now enjoy Yohe Huffs Hamtaro.
Everybody else does.
Very nice.
I'll have with
Yohe, do you want to tell us what this is or no?
Listen.
So my
name of the show after.
I'll say it's Hamtaro. Hamtaro. Hamtaro.
Hamtaro.
I've heard of it.
Little Hamster's Big Adventures. All right, let's begin. This episode is called Hamtaro wa Humorous Hillhole, which is titled Hamtaro and the Humorous Hillhole. Hamtaro, the beloved hamster of Hiroko Haruna, wakes up after a much-needed nap. Looking around, he immediately realizes that he is not sitting atop his typical bed of cedar shavings, but instead appears to be on a hill. The ground below him happens to have what one would consider a drab, desert-like tan hue with flecks of pink and a supple footing. Thinking this to be part of his dreaming, as his beloved fantastical journeys always start out similar to this, he inspects his surroundings. It appears to be some type of underground cave. Hamtaro exclaimed as he happily plods down the slightly moist turf. All of a sudden, the ground beneath him begins to rumble slightly, throwing the ham into a skittish turvy. Curious as ever, Hamtaro waits for the ground to stop its quaking and continues scampering downward. After a few meters down the hill, he comes across some random objects littering the ground. Some are smaller and appear to look like little food pellets, while some other ones look larger and, unbeknownst to him, relatively phallic-shaped. A few of these shapes he recognized from his owner as human things, while showing him the outside world. These items included a hot dog, a kaboka squash, a cucumber, and what happened to look like a human finger but made out of wood. Eyeing the smaller items, Hamtaro's gut grumbles as he usually does after a good nap. He realizes his hunger and makes the executive decision to chow down on some of the smaller treats he sees on the ground, as he had grown accustomed to this on his random journeys into fantasy.
This one has a little bit of a sweet yet pickle flavor. But something about it reminds me of when Hiroko's in the bathroom for human time. Oh well.
Hamtaro muses while crumbing those yellow and brown delicious pellets. His immediate hunger sated, the curious rodent continues his descent. As he plods along the terrain, he notices the ground ahead has a few puddles, while a few steps start becoming a bit on the sticky side.
Oh, my fur is starting to get mushy-gushy and all this white stuff is smelling like cleaning day.
As Hamtaro notes these conditions, the rumbling returns, increasing in fervorous tremors until the ground begins shaking violently. Hamtaro can no longer contain his stability and begins to fall, increasing the speed of his downward travel. Hamtaro tumbles end over end until he looks below his feet and, would you look at that, it appears he has been saved. The hamster notes that his savior appears to be a large, worm-like creature. Observing closer, he notes that he landed directly on what appears to be the creature's eye.
Oh, thanks for the help, Wormy. Can you take me to where it's a little bit safer?
Hamtaro cheerfully exclaims as he tries to befriend the creature. The worm says nothing, but starts to jump up and down in what Hamtaro interprets to be a dance. During this dance with the hamster, the worm starts rubbing and tickling his fur in a confusing yet exciting manner. Suddenly, the surface of the worm begins to get incredibly warm as it turns bright red, thrashing erratically while Hamtaro clings for dear life.
Oh, did I upset do to make you happy again? What if I shift my fluffy back on your eye and give it a little hand tickle?
As soon as Hamtaro does this, the creature erupts from its eye with a volcanic blast of pearlescent goo. Hamtaro is ejected through the sky wildly. As he looks up from the geyser's explosion, he gasps as a massive brown flood surges downward from the sky, reminding Hamtaro once more of the scent of the Haruna's bathroom. Getting caught directly in between both eruptions, the young critter gets plastered in shades of what reminds him of sticky snow and smelly mud as he once again plummets through space, the worm now nowhere in sight. The last thing Hamtaro notices as he plops to the bottom of the hill is that the ground is now soft and somewhat reminds him of Hiroko's bed. Alright, what really just happened, we're all asking. Well, it just so happens that Hiroko's father, Yumetaro, crept into her room while she was fast asleep to pluck the snoozing pet from his cage, as Hiromi, Hiroko's mother, had requested that they spice up their nightly bedroom fun with something she saw on rammyhamham.com. The pleasure Hamtaro created inside Hiromi's majorly digestive tract was just what she craved. However, a bit of air pressure had accumulated during Hamtaro's insertion, so she tried to let out a queef. Instead, she ended up blasting some intestinal gravy from her other orifice. On accident. Hearing her parents shriek in unexpected orgasmic relief,
You gotta let it come.
Hiroko burst into their room just as Hamtaro had been ejected from Hiromi's insides. The hamster comes to just in time to burp a combination of the two eruptions that launched him from the humorous hole. The episode ends as Hamtaro smiles, gives the peace sign, and considers,
I wonder what Hiroko's hole would be like.
Oh, no! No, he wouldn't.
I'm dead. Game over.
Oh my god.
Yeah. First time I did it without people reactions, I timed it 5 minutes flat. I was like, holy shit!